Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. So, had a bunch of stuff sell. It was kind of like a weird day where like these sales where a lot of people I was messaging they wanted to do these combo orders. So I'll get into it, but it's a pretty good. It's Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Sorry, days have been going fast. Friday, the post office is closed for the 4th of July, so that kind of changes up how everything I do, all the way from the videos to the shipping out stuff, because I'll probably have to go on Thursday as late as possible to get as many items sent out as possible. Because generally, when there's a post office like holiday, there's less movement with packages. You end up getting, as a seller, a bunch of messages of, hey, where's my stuff? And it's kind of like, oh, it's awkward, sorry, there was extended time, where packages weren't being moved. And then also, after there's a holiday, the next day that the post office is open, they're slammed, at least around here. Like, even if I go in super late, 30 minutes before close or something, they are just slammed. I see behind them, they'll have like bins and bins of packages. So that means I'll probably go on Saturday. I normally don't do Saturday, but Saturday is probably gonna have my Friday and Saturday stuff. But the postman told me that Saturday is probably gonna be busy. So we'll see. All right, I'm gonna jump into it now. The first thing, a lot of cool stuff that sold. Dark Realm miniatures. Some of the stuff is similar. They're really tiny. So for some reason, I just sold a lot of small miniatures, a couple of combo orders. This is not a combo order. I can't even find it. Like they're 2 millimeter, which is like I didn't even realize 2 millimeter existed until I got this like collection. It was a collection in a box. I did a video with it where I was going through. It was like in a small little box. I went through a bunch of miniatures. So yeah, I went through all the stuff, really cool stuff, and I'll get into it a little bit more. Sorry, I'm rambling. So the first thing is, I think the company is Dark Realms. These are some kind. They're so tiny. Like my eyesight's not perfect, but it's also not miserable. But they look like little sci-fi humanoids. Seriously, this is how tiny they are. This is a pack of 50 of them, and I'm going for $20.49 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. All right, next up is gonna be a combo order. These are Dungeons and Dragons miniature cards without the miniatures. It was a collectible card game in like the early 2000s. You buy booster packs, and then you would get rarities for the figures, big ones, small ones, medium-sized ones, and then they would come with cards for stats for the game. You would play on these gridded maps. I got a bunch of these cards a long time ago, way before I was filming, or else I would have done a video for like 5,000, 10,000 of these cards, spent a day to organize them by sets. I was like, I don't know if people are going to buy the cards without the miniatures, but I did assume because the miniatures are kind of, it's hard to store, because I was used to be into HeroClix, a miniature with a card. Just think about like storing that. So there are going to be miniatures that get missing, and there's also going to be cards that maybe someone puts them in a card box, or they get damaged, or they go missing, because the two types you want to store together don't fit well together. I hope that made sense. So these three sets of cards, what sets were these from? I don't remember. I didn't write it down. Oh, this is a various packet of 18. This one right here is Dungeon Delve sets. There's a lot of these miniatures. If you get the miniatures, really good. If you get the miniatures with the cards, extra better. If you get new booster packs, the best, obviously. This is Monster Manual, Lords of Madness. All these cards for $39. Super good. This is the scraps of that stuff. I sold a lot of the other cards for a good amount of money. All right, moving along. Speaking of HeroClix, I got super lucky. I got a lot of HeroClix at some auctions last year, or sorry, last year? Early in last year. Last year. I don't actually know at this point. All right, I'm losing track of time. But yeah, rares are going to have the silver little symbol right here. The set symbol tells you what booster pack they come in. The color tells you the rarity. Rares are technically not the best. There are some rares that are worth money. So it goes common, uncommon, rare. There is super rare. There is then chase rare. And then towards the end of the game, there also were primes. And I believe primes could be common prime, uncommon prime. So it got a little bit more complicated as I was not playing the game as much. But general rares are kind of on the lower end. So, but I did a full. People still like them. They generally pay like $1 or $2 for them. If it's a character they really like, maybe $3. And if it's a good figure for the game, maybe more once in a blue moon. But yeah, all these a bag of 25 rares. I just did rares. 22 of them have cards. 3 are missing. Really easy to look up on different websites. The cards tell you what powers and abilities they have. A lot of them you can memorize because they're either color coded. The only ones that are hard to memorize are they'll have a white square around the number, which means it will have different powers, and that's saying you have to read the card to understand the power. But you can memorize it. Like usually I have a squad of, it depends on how many points you play, like 5 to 10 figures. So if you play a lot, like you like certain characters, I used to play a lot of the same figures that I liked. You do kind of know what their abilities are. At one point, you don't have to look them up. Those end up going for $31.49. So it's pretty good. Like I said, a little bit more than like $1 for each one. All right, moving along, we have 15 millimeter. Was this 15 millimeter? I think I wrote this down wrong. Oh, no, I did not. So I got like these medieval skirmish miniatures. That's what they were labeled at an auction. They were well painted, well done. This is 3 lots. I kind of put them in 2 baggies, transferring from the storage unit. It's super well done. So they have flacking, which is like grass and stuff on the bottom right there. Someone put them on like these little boards. I've sold like the boards, plastic ones, wooden ones, all the time. These ones, they like the armored ones. Really well done. I did pay up for this auction. It was kind of like a gamble because these auctions were like big boxes of these painted miniatures by someone professionally, and a lot of people were paying like $200 for like boxes of these. For some reason, they didn't care about the one that was labeled skirmish, and the skirmish box obviously had way less miniatures. I think I paid like 27 for the whole box. I've sold a lot of them. I still have a little bit left. I am asking for more. They are well done. I did take good pictures. These 3 lots went for $33.50. All right, I just like how they looked. Moving along, it was kind of a test for me first, like painted wargaming military miniatures. I do have more access to them at different auctions I go to. I needed to do like a little bit of a test run. All right, next up is going to be, these are chit tokens for a board game. This is sheet number 20. There's a lot of sheets with these games. These house, I think, like 200 little tokens. This is for a board game series called Europa. I think I'm saying that right. And then the title of this one was Marcia Merker, I think. So it's just like, I don't know too much about these particular Europa games. I think there's like an Africa one that's Africa something that goes for a lot of money. A lot of these go for a lot of money. People do love them. Like I said, there's tons of tokens, bits and pieces, so people will definitely want to pick up extras if they lose some, or they want extras to play the game. Really in-depth strategy war games. These end up going for $14.99. I noticed that this was a first edition. I just looked at, like, I think the year on the bottom over there. So that was pretty good. First, that's like, I think if the game is complete, that would be considered like 5% of the game. Just give you an idea of like how much those games are. All right, moving along, we have 2mm combo order. So small miniatures. The person actually, I did not know what brand these were. These were not the fantasy ones like the ones I sold earlier. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packs. Can't really show you guys. Wait, not that one. Can't show you something that wasn't part of the combo order. 5 packs of these small little 2mm miniatures. Someone reached out. They told me it was a brand called Irregular Miniatures. They were 2mm, and they said that they were probably from the, I think it was Horse and Musket range. So the first thing I did, I was like, okay, I'll look this up. I found a website. He said that they were hard to get in the UK, or that it took a long time to get them, like a couple months. And he said, well, he picked up these 5, and then he said that if I probably changed all my titles, people would see that and the shipping would be faster, which the international shipping will be faster than a few months. All right, so these end up going for $78 for all these miniatures. So like I said, the sales were kind of wonky for the day because I just wrapped this up right before I started recording. And then this one, I just kind of wrapped up like towards later in the night. So there was like $100. I was kind of like, is it going to happen? There have been times where people will message or set up like a combo order and then it just falls through. Stuff happens. I don't get like salty over it, but it does happen. So I don't count it until technically I'm like super into the mindset of it's not counted for me until it is shipped and the 30 days have passed for returns and then there's no returns. And then also I want to get a positive feedback from the person. And then if I get a return, neutral or negative, I want to figure out what happened, right? So to me, like the thing is finalized when it's day 31 of the returns. Or I don't know if they get 31 days or 30. I always forget. Whatever. Like you guys know, it's just a day off. No one hair splitting, please. All right. Next up is going to be some, we're almost done. Are we almost done? I think we are. Zombicide board game. So these are going to be some epic weapons. I only played this game once. It was in 2013. I just happen to remember the year. Been so long that I didn't really like the game that much. I think I dipped out early. A lot of people dipped out early. People just weren't focused on it. Maybe it was just not a good teaching session. Maybe just people weren't focused. I forgot the reason. But I don't remember what like the epic weapons were. But I do know that there's a ton of Zombicide stuff. People love it. It's probably the #1 zombie board game to this day. Like I said, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that I'm not aware that people love this game. And then there's Dead of Winter, and there might be some super current past 2 or 3 years of Kickstarter zombie games that I would be unaware of. Haven't had money to buy like Kickstarter games, so like that I'm just not. I'll occasionally look at like newer Kickstarter games. Kickstarter Board Game World is just like a whole nother animal. I do try to keep up on it just because I'm looking for games that will really draw me in. I have a lot of games to still play. I've played a bunch. but I am always looking. There are always some in the queue that I want. I want a lot of like vintage ones. I specifically want a lot of expansions to games I have. I'm waiting to get them cheaper in trade or in auctions. I don't want to like pay the full price unless if someone wants to like a parent wants to give a Christmas gift or something like that. All right, rambling there. $6 just for that. All that talking for that. Sorry, guys. All right. Next up is going to be, I accidentally skipped them. These are Privateer Press pins right here. So these are, they're really well done pins. I forgot what these symbols are going to be. They might be for factions, or like this one has like a star, or like like kind of like a fanning out orange flower. This one looks like it has two different faction faces. I can't tell from a glance what factions they are. But yeah, so Privateer Press would do War Machine and Hordes, which is a Cyberpunk is War Machine, and Hordes is the fantasy miniature game where you pick like a warcaster, and then I forgot what the other name for the was it Warlock for the Hordes, and then you control your little battlefield army. You're trying to take out their warcaster or warlock, or I think if you get enough troops, you win. It's been a long time. I was only demoed the game, but I watched a lot of people play it. These were from like promotional kits. You would have to go to a store. You would have to go to a tournament. I'm not sure what place these ones are. They're well done. Privateer Press did some like, cool promo stuff. These two ended up going for $20, so $10 each. So it's pretty cool. Maybe someone's going to do their own little tournaments, and they wanted to have a little bit of a couple prizes for people to hand out. These are like I don't think the Privateer Press makes these anymore. I think they were bought out by Steamforged Games, so I don't really know where Privateer Press stands or the War Machine and Horde stuff. All right, but it's all a lot of vintage stuff. That was like an oddity one, so that's pretty cool. That kind of like extra stuff usually comes in like collections, which is always like good extra little sales inside of it. So let's say if I buy like a big box of miniatures, and then there's like dice, and then there's rule books, and there's army books, and then there's these promo pins, and then other stuff you get to, and then the bag you get to sell if it's a good bag. So you always get all these extra things to sell, or I can use bags if like I ever need more bags for miniatures. All right, second to last thing right here. We have two World War II micro armor. These are whole pieces, so I did not know how to label these. I got a lot of these. I ended up, so these are the holes, and the person also bought the tank turret top. So the holes are the base of the tanks. These are a 15 millimeter, either 6 millimeter or 15 millimeter. It's one of those two. They're kind of far off. Miniature game, metal bits and pieces. I just did whatever ones looked similar. I put them together, like all the same holes with the same, like wheel layout, right? Or like all the tank turrets that were the same turrets. So they are kind of unlabeled or poorly labeled on eBay, but I've had a lot of people buying them, and this person's been buying a bunch, a little bit at a time. I keep doing combo orders. They spent $24.99 on these two. And then this last thing, this was a San Diego Comic-Con, I think 2017 pin. It's like a pink mummy. I forget what the pink mummy's from. And then, yeah, San Diego Comic-Con, super popular convention. You can always, sometimes you have to buy pins. There's also like, you can go demo stuff. I haven't been there, so I'm not like fully sure how the handouts work for those or the promotional items. I'm just assuming I've gone to things like Gen Con, I've gone to Origins, I've gone to whatever. I know I've gone to like a role playing game one. What was it called? I can't remember. I've been to a bunch of different conventions. You can get a lot of this stuff, and people who can't go do like them. There is a lot of cool stuff. Sometimes there's lines you have to go in to get these things. Other times they're common to find. It's a whole like treasure hunt in itself. But yeah, this ended up selling for $7.90. $7.99. Pretty good pin. Someone's gonna appreciate and enjoy the pink mummy. It's like well done. It has a nice little like shine to it. All right, that's everything. Got to get ready to pack this up. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope you're having a good week so far.